Hey gamers, I'm back with another episode of Let's Create a Competitive Card Game. Today we'll be taking a look at the first few effects for the life followers, as well as taking a look at the second concept for ability 24. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright, so first, it has been a little while since I've put out one of these videos. Now, I did mention previously that the artist had some things going on in her personal life, and I have been a little bit busy, so I haven't been able to come up with the card effects. However, all of that should be good now, and these videos should be back on schedule. So what I'm going to do first is we're going to take a look at the card effects. And the last episode we actually took a look at the second concept for ability 22 and the initial concept for ability 24, and prior to that we went ahead and finished up the effects for the mind followers. So first we'll do the card effects, and I'll put a link up here to the last video with the card effects, and when we get to the art I'll have a link up here for the last art video. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. So if you guys recall, life is all about giving and taking away. So the life guild can either gain life or burn life away, as well as the life guild is about strong defensive, to a lesser extent of the power guild, where they're primarily focused on, say, attacking and defending. So the whole idea of the life guild is that they really want to win via that life gain win condition. So a lot of games, the win conditions are to take away all of your opponent's life, and some games have alternate win conditions where if you get a certain amount of cards in play or in your hand of a specific card, then you win the game. So winning by life gain, as far as I know, is pretty unique. So this will need to be play tested thoroughly just to see how much life gain is needed to ensure that there's not too much life gain going on in life or too little life gain going on in life. So the first card effect that I came up with was, at the end of your turn you gain 1 life for each cleric you control. So this lends itself to 2 strategies. One is sort of a weenie rush type strategy, which is where you just flood the play area with a lot of low cost cards, hoping to overwhelm your opponent. So if you can flood the play area with a lot of low cost cards while you have this card in play and your opponent only has a few, say, big followers in play, then you can gain a substantial amount of life. The other sort of play style is just to play big followers or strong followers and make sure they stay alive from turn to turn. That way you have a consistent life gain. Now the art description which I gave the artist was that I wanted a group of clerics healing someone. So pretty open-ended. The artist has been pretty good so far with just taking these descriptions and doing her own thing with them, and I really have liked that so far. So moving on to the next life follower, the effect which I came up with was, when this card is destroyed by combat, you can gain 5 life. So again, this does have an offensive and sort of defensive type playstyle to it. One is, if you just need to gain that little bit of life to, say, win, you can sort of attack your opponent, and if they don't want you to gain that life to win, well, they're not going to defend against this card, and you're still going to do damage to them. So sort of a double-edged sword. And another thing to think about is on the defensive end. If you have this, your opponent may not want to attack you for fear of you blocking with this and sort of using it as a sacrifice to actually gain life. So this is a pretty versatile effect. Now the art description which I gave to the artist was that I wanted a dying cleric passing on something to another cleric. That's really all I could think about with this, and yeah, let's see what she does with that. So for the final follower effect that I came up with was, when this card blocks, you gain 4 life, and that's not once per turn. So every time you block with this card, you gain 4 life. So this should help speed up the life gain in this deck. And the card or the art description which I gave the artist was that I wanted a pretty buff cleric stopping someone from attacking someone else. That's really all I could picture was a cleric in the way of someone being attacked, just sort of blocking them and maybe just pushing them out the way like I got you. So yeah, let's see what she does with that. So what I'll do next is I'll go ahead and hop into Photoshop, and I'll go ahead and sort of look at the initial concept for ability 24 and then reveal the second concept and then do a side-by-side. So let's go ahead and go to Photoshop. Alright, so we're in Photoshop, and this is Talent 24. And I do realize I did call them abilities, which is what I told the artist they are called. However, again, abilities is just the combination of either skills or talent cards. Those are both a form of ability card. So Talent 24, the effect, if you guys don't remember, was that you could destroy a target card, and the art description which I gave the artist was that I wanted a lightning bolt, or I honestly think I said thunderbolt, destroying something. And this is the initial concept which she gave me. Now, the one that I did go ahead and choose was the third one. The first one I really wasn't a fan of. I was guessing maybe this was a lightning bolt hitting concrete or the ground or something. I didn't really like the squiggly lines on this. It is simple, but I didn't really like it. The second concept, I did sort of like it. However, I didn't really like it as much as the third one, which is just a lightning bolt striking a tree. Now that is super simple. However, depending on the background, that can be a really good looking image in my opinion. So that is why I told the artist to go ahead and proceed with the third one. So what was I expecting in the second concept? Well, it sort of depends on how the artist is feeling. Sometimes she sends a lot of detail, and sometimes she sends very little detail. However, in the final images, the detail is perfect. So I was expecting somewhere in between a little detail and a pretty detailed image. Essentially just this with color in one way or another. So let's go ahead and take a look at the second concept for Talent 24. Alright, so this is the second concept for Talent 24, and this is somewhere in between a little detail and a lot of detail. The background is, I don't know if maybe it's in one of those little bottle things, like maybe a tree in a bottle with a lightning bolt hitting it, or if it's daylight, maybe she's going for a storm. But this, I don't know. I like it, but the background color, I'm not really feeling the background color. It looks sort of like maybe the northern lights up here somewhere. But aside from this blue background color, I like this. I'm not sure of how big lightning bolts are. I mean, yeah, I've seen lightning, but this lightning bolt here looks pretty thick to be hitting this tree, to be that close to the ground. However, I like this image. Yeah, I like this, and that's really, there's really not much for me to say about this image. I mean, it's a tree with a lightning bolt. Like I said, it's super simple, but I think depending on how she does the background, this could be a really good image when all the detail is there. I did ask the artist to do something about this background, as I've obviously have already seen this. Yeah, I'm just really not a fan. I don't know why. It looks like cotton candy or something. But yeah, so this is the second concept, and what I'll do now is a side-by-side of the initial and second concept. Alright, so this is the side-by-side comparison of Talent 24. Right away, something I can see is that she did zoom way in on the tree. It is actually a completely different type of tree, not that that really matters. But yeah, it's really, I mean, it is a little different, but it's exactly what I expected. sort of the same thing with a little bit more detailed color added. Now, I do have to say, this is probably the first time where it's not actually a 1-for-1, and I can understand that, especially with something like a tree, where this is just a sketch of it, and when she's maybe doing the real thing, she doesn't like how this is feeling. As I do like how it's striking the tree here, sort of breaking it in half and sort of setting fire to it. You can't really picture seeing all of that from this initial concept. Now, the lightning's different. I think she just, with this sketch, she just went ahead and redrew the entire thing. Normally, she just fills in the color, which is pretty hard when you just have these very thin lines. But yeah, overall, I definitely like this concept, and I did tell the artist to go ahead and proceed with the next concept for Talent 24. Alright, so in the next video, hopefully on Monday, there will be either a third concept for Talent 22 or maybe a completely new initial concept for a different talent. But that is the end of this video. If you like these videos, please be sure to like, subscribe, and all of that other good stuff. Thanks.